World Economic Forum at Davos this year has seen a lot of the new gen business leaders make their debut at the conference in the year 2025. And joining us at the India Today and Business Today studios at the World Economic Forum in Davos now is Aryaman Birla. He's the son of Kumar Mangalam Birla. He's also now serving on the board of several companies like Grasim, trying to do his own thing by taking the group into new age ventures in hospitality, and is currently at the Harvard Business School and is making his Davos debut. So welcome.
Thank you so much for having me. It's such a pleasure. No, absolutely. Thank you.
How has Davos been for you this year? This is your first time. From everything you heard and you've seen, how's it going?
It's been fantastic, Rahul. A great opportunity to meet so many people from across the world, different industries, different backgrounds. There's, obviously, as we know, we're in a world that is in a little bit of a strife. And so to be here at this time, to hear of, sort of what people's perspectives are on protectionism and how that's playing out in the world is very interesting. There's also obviously a lot of talk around climate change, which I'm sure, it's my first time, but I'm sure has been a topic of conversation for a while. I think that's very interesting for us, especially from India, looking at how to balance climate commitments with, economic development. What the right balance is something that we need to find. And then I think what's been super interesting is obviously the timing of this has sort of coincided with the 20th of January. And the entire conversation around Trump 2.0, what that means for the US, what it means for the US economy, and by extension then what that means for the world economy and for us, the Indian economy. So I think those are some of the things that I've sort of heard and taken away. So it's been very interesting and also had a very good time.
You're currently on campus at the Harvard Business School doing your MBA program. How has that been so far? You're currently in your last semester. And what's the mood on campus around Donald Trump's presidency?
Oh, gosh. That, as you know, is always a little bit of a sensitive topic. So it's something that I don't always engage with people on. But what I can say, I think my experience at the school has been fantastic. I've also spent my 2 years at the school at a time when, things in the world have been in flux, whether that's the Middle East or just general geopolitics. And so to have that perspective at an academic institution of that stature with peers of repute and global peers and faculty, I think has been extremely interesting for me. And I think from my perspective, and this is my opinion, I think there's a lot of positivity around Trump 2.0. And especially for us as well from India, there's a lot of positivity. So it's been an extremely interesting time. Also a very proud time, I have to say. Firstly, we've had 2 consecutive Indian deans at the Harvard Business School, which is an extremely proud moment for all of us as Indian students on campus. We're also the best represented nation after the US in terms of student representation, which is such a great moment for all of us. So we're truly on the center table at an institution like the Harvard Business School is something that gives us a lot of hope and I think opportunities for the future.
It's a bit like what's happening with American IT companies after Professor Nitin Nohria, Shrikant Dattar, he taught me accounts when I was on campus. He's taken over. So it's good. It's like a Indian takeover, not just of the Davos promenade at HPS and also at Silicon Valley.
No, absolutely. Extremely proud. And we see it on campus. I think there's a palpable sense of the opportunities that our country holds and all the potential that our economy holds. I think that's a conversation that's always ongoing on campus, within students, within faculty, in the alleyways. So I think there's a lot of positive sort of talk and narrative about India, our economy, and also our government and how we've sort of been able to change this entire narrative over the last 10, 11 years. And I think that a lot of credit must go to our government.
Many of our viewers may know and some might not. Aryaman Birla's journey is quite unique, and what sets him apart from all other business dinners is the fact that he chose to walk his own path on the cricket field, playing Ranji Trophy for Madhya Pradesh, and from there really pivoting to the world of business. So first talk a bit about what being on the cricket field. You don't expect, I don't say it in a bad way, but you don't expect a Birla to go pad up for Ranji Trophy cricket, rough it out with the teams, move to Rewa in Madhya Pradesh and play cricket with the boys. Why did you do that? And why did you give up?
Okay, I'll start with the first part. Look, I think I always played the sport from a very young age. I was extremely passionate about playing the sport. And I think in hindsight, I can say that it gave me a sense of individuality, Rahul. That, and I say this with a lot of humility, that I think coming from privilege, I think and I think a lot of people who do come from privilege would feel this. There's always an angst about, creating something on your own for yourself and not relying on the privilege that you come from. And I think, maybe I'm saying this in hindsight, but I think my journey with cricket sort of gave me the opportunity to create a path for myself out of the name of my family at that time. So I think that was extremely important for me to boost my own confidence, to know that if I take to something, I can succeed. And this is very objective. These are statistics that either you get selected on the basis of or not.
I heard in the Ranji game you scored a century and saved your team in the match as well. So those are, as you say, are objective statistics which speak for themselves.
No, you're being very kind. But yeah, I think that journey taught me a lot. It also gave me the opportunity to look at India, see India from a very different lens, which, to be honest with you, I may not have had the opportunity or may not have done to travel through the interiors of India, get a real sense of grassroots India.
So let's unpack this. First, you said you learned a lot of lessons on the cricket field. What key lessons did Aryaman Birla learn on the field of cricket?
I would say a lot to do with people management and being able to deal with people from different cultures, different backgrounds, people who may not have sort of had the opportunity to see the world or even India in the manner that I've been very lucky to see. So being able to, be in that environment in itself was the biggest learning, on or off the field. On the field, there's always pressures that you're dealing with. You're dealing with them alone. You don't have a boardroom of people to assist you, or my father, or your sister, or anybody. Absolutely. So, you're out there on your own. You can do all the prep in the world that you may like to do. But at the end of the day, it comes down to that 1 second. And that actually has, there's a lot of learning just in that alone. But yeah, I think it taught me a lot about, being able to adapt to different conditions with different people, teamwork, collaboration, a lot of meta skills that you sort of pick up. And in many ways, I think, are transferable to all parts of life and business as well.
And then suddenly you just gave it up. You said, okay, enough is enough, no more. Why did you just give up on something that you invested so much time, energy, and effort in?
I think give up is a very strong word, okay. Rahul. I'm not sure if I gave it up. That's not the way I look at it, at least. For me, it was, we pivot all the time from career A to career B, so I don't know why. In my mind, it's not that different. I get what you're saying, so I see that point of view as well. I had played 2 years of Ranji Trophy. I debuted when I was 20. I was very young. Like I said, I think there was a big extrinsic motivation for me also to play cricket. Not only that, of course, intrinsically I loved the sport, but it was also something that I wanted to do to be able to create a name for myself. And I think I was able to do that through my 2 years in Ranji Trophy and playing that. And I came to the realization that my true calling was to be able to go back to the business, or go into the business rather, and continue what I think is just an incredible legacy and history that I've been able to almost just inherit, that I feel super lucky about and extremely privileged for.
So let's spend some time talking about that. What does the new generation Birla tycoon think about the businesses that he inherits? Which ones excite you the most? I saw that you were trying to get also into hospitality, more consumer-facing businesses, new-gen businesses. But then you also have in the group a lot of very strong legacy businesses, which some of the young dynasts find a bit boring and old world. What do you make of it?
So I'll start with the larger picture. I think all our businesses are very well placed. I'm excited about the opportunities ahead for almost all of them. And then coming back to the first point, I think my father has spoken about this as well. And like, I think we are making more investments into consumer-facing / services businesses. We've done that in 2024. We invested very deeply in 2 new consumer businesses. One was obviously jewelry retail, and the second one was on the intersection of consumer and manufacturing, which is paints. We, generally feel like there's going to be long-term buoyancy in consumerism in India. It's a large domestic consumption market, and I think there'll be long-term tailwinds. There's also tailwinds in terms of these industries moving from more unorganized sector or being more unorganized to now getting more organized. But I think those are all sort of external factors. Even internally, I think we are very well placed to sort of be in these 2 sectors alone. So, for example, if you look at paints, in many ways, Rahul, I think I look at it as somewhat downstream from cement.
Sure.
So we have that institutional knowledge. We've been in manufacturing for decades, so we understand the manufacturing side of it. To put up 6 plants at one go and a substantial amount of capacity addition to the industry is a big task, but we have that institutional knowledge. And then I think a big moat for something like paints is distribution. And we have a lot of overlap with distribution from our white cement business. So I think, it's not only that we're getting into consumer businesses because we feel that there's buoyancy in consumerism long-term in India, but also that we feel we have a competitive advantage internally, and we're well placed to be able to exploit that, and we have a right to play and therefore a right to win in some of those sectors. And to your last point, I don't look at it as sort of old school or new school businesses. I think these are all great businesses, and these are businesses, if you talk about, cement and aluminum being old school, I think these are businesses that are core to any economy. And as we sort of go through this journey from $4 trillion to our Prime Minister's vision of 2047, these are going to be extremely core industries. And we're absolutely going to be
have you thought, I'm sure you have, about the journey that you want to take after you complete your program at the Harvard Business School? Because you probably need to start somewhere, run some business. Of the options that you have, where do you hope to start and why?
So I think I'm not going to answer this question directly because I don't think I'm well placed today to answer it. I think I'm thinking about it, and I have a few hypotheses which I'm still in the middle of discovering, and I think this is it's iterative, Rahul, as you can imagine. I'm 7th generation, so there's a way that we've done things. It's a discussion with family, and so these are iterative conversations. And obviously, by the time I get back post my MBA, one thing I can say is that I'm going to be extremely invested in what the group does, and I'm going to be right there. But I think more generally, to answer your question, and like I said earlier, I think I'm extremely proud of the legacy that I've been able to inherit. In many ways, I feel like that's my greatest responsibility. And giving back to that legacy in whatever way I can. And through that, giving back to our country and sort of being on this path and an actor in our government's mission of 2047 is something that really excites me.
In the behemoth that you are part of, what is it you really like, and what is it that when you see you really want to change? That I wish things weren't this way, I wish things were a bit different.
So I'm not a big fan of just change for the sake of change. I truly believe that the 6 generations before me, including my father, over the last 30 years, we've created systems and processes and an institution, if I can call it that myself, that's extremely robust. We have businesses that, are extremely robust in terms of their balance sheet, in terms of growth and EBITDA growth, revenue growth, both. I don't think I'm going to come in and just say that, we need to change A, B, and C. I think it's about absorbing, coming in, having a good sense of what's going on. And obviously there'll be change, and you want to be part of that change. I'm sure there'll be things that you want to pivot towards, invest more in, invest less in. I think those things keep happening, but I'm not a fan for just changing for the sake of change.
What does a typical father-son conversation look like? What are the key things you've learned from Kumar Mangalam Birla? of all the details, what's your biggest takeaway?
He doesn't say a lot, I will say. I think he's someone that I can work with very comfortably. He's very comfortable giving me the leeway and my space to explore, and that I'm sure is tough for a parent because you know that that's going to come with failures as well. But I really appreciate that. And I think if there's one thing that I would say that I've learned from him or am learning from him continuously is just how resilient and unflappable he is. He's been now at the head of the group for 30 years in this year, in fact. And just that journey itself, 30 years at the top is a long, long time. And he's seen so many cycles, both good and bad, as you know much better than me, Rahul. I think he's been unflappable through it all. And not only unflappable, but has also been able to grow the group and institution as I call it.
What strikes me as being hugely remarkable, apart from just the businesses that he's built, is that he's allowed his children to make their own choices. Your sister getting into music, you getting into cricket. A lot of traditional Indian business families would be very off that. You've got so many employees, people looking in, looking out, saying, "Log kya bolenge, cricket khel raha hai, music kar rahi." So the fact that he'd be okay with it and give you space to find your space, is quite remarkable.
No, I agree. I'm truly appreciative of that, and I think that goes to both my parents. I think they've really truly been the wind beneath our wings and given us the opportunity to explore what we want to do in this world. And it's somehow happened that we've done sort of our exploration and very seriously with all the values that they've instilled in us, and all come back to saying that what we really want to do is contribute to our group, contribute to the economic development of the country and the societal development of the country, like the generations before have so beautifully done.
This is an interesting time in corporate India's journey, where in a lot of big industrial groups, and it strikes me when you're here, you've got a new generation padding up, taking charge, going out to bat.
Yeah.
Whether it is at the Ambanis, the Adanis, whether it's the Goenkas, the Birlas. Is there an element of competition? Ki wo kya kar raha hai, mujhe kya karna hai? How do I build my franchise different from what the other guy is doing? Do you feel that level of competition and burden as you go out to bat?
I think burden is something that is a little negative word in my mind. Of course, there's responsibility. There's no doubt about it. I think there's a long legacy that we come with, and I think there's an appreciation and understanding that we need to work very hard to be able to not only grow that legacy, but even just sustain that legacy. So that appreciation is there.
That's a very diplomatic answer. My question is, do you feel that?
I'm coming to that.
Okay, come.
I'm coming to that. Some competition is always good, right? But it's a free market. We're competing in the market. So I don't think there's competition personally between us. They're all great friends of mine, and I look up to all of them for what they do. And in fact, I have so often even spoken to them about how to navigate a situation conglomerate of this nature, which is controlled or run by a family, traditionally promoter-driven. These are complex topics, and not a lot of people have insights. And I think these are friends that I look up to and respect for their insights. So no, absolutely. I think I really look up to them. And what I would also say is that our economy and country is growing so rapidly. I think that there's space for everyone to do well and to grow. The pie is getting bigger. And we all want to and will be, hopefully, a part of that growth story. And at the end of the day, like I said, I think our government is extremely clear that 2047 is when we, want to be a developed nation.
You believe that to be possible?
I mean,
you seem to be a bit of a, I don't say Modi Bhakt, but you seem to believe in his vision.
No, I'm not taking a political stance.
I'm just asking. You believe in that to be possible?
I think
Viksit Bharat by 2047.
Look, I think there are statistics to this that need to be put. I'm not sure of that, and I don't know what specific statistics would make up of a developed nation versus not. But either way, I think you shoot for the moon, and if you don't reach there, you at least land on the stars. And that I truly believe will happen. And I don't think that anything that we've seen over the last 10 years indicates otherwise. So I think, the the pie is getting bigger, our economy is growing, and we all want to be significant actors in that journey. And hopefully we can. I think if we work hard and sort of invest in the right areas, we can.
Aryaman Birla, for taking our time and joining us at our studios here at Davos. This is the first, I hope, of many, and I look forward to tracking your steps from here. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
really
for
appreciate it.
Thank you.